To show off an amazing solution, an IoT solution, I'd love to invite to the stage Mike Prorock from mesur.io. Thanks, Anthony. So welcome. Actually, hang out here for a sec. Oh, you want to? Yeah. Oh, yes. So, Mike, maybe you could share a little bit about who mesur.io is, what you're doing. I see you have some kit. It's always exciting to have a thing. It's green. That's very apropos.
It's a thing, and it talks to the internet, so it's part of the Internet of Things.
So if you've ever wanted to know what the Internet of Things is, that's a thing.
So really for us, it's about getting the data, right? And it's about the value that data can pull back to specific use cases. So, the concept behind mesur.io started with myself and my family moving back to the country and buying a farm, literally. So we started digging in and looking at ways to do that in a more technical way, since I came from a data background. We found out there really wasn't a lot out there. There's a lot of consumer stuff out there in IoT. There's a lot of really high-end, expensive stuff. There really wasn't anything for the 80% of farmers that were out there. And so we started building some things like this. And as a result of that, we also found other people that needed that same data, golf courses, other people that have irrigation, large properties like the one we're at here, right? So we focus on pulling in that environmental data, analyzing that on the back end, and then most importantly, using Qlik to pull all that data together with all the other external data that really matters to our end users. So this is sometimes satellite data, often it's business data, cost data, labor data, et cetera. And how do we tie all that together for them so that they can get answers?
Excellent. So maybe share with the group here a little bit about the QAP, the platform, and how that's uniquely valuable in building the mesur.io solution. Absolutely,
Anthony. So from a key thing for us, we needed something that would tie in as a part of our ecosystem. So we were building a software as a service platform. We were building it up in Amazon on AWS, right? And we needed another strong component to really tie the data together for us. So we had Cloudera to pull in, ingest, and analyze large amounts of data and do all sorts of cool predictive analytics stuff on, but we needed something to pull all those results together. And because of the approach that was taken with QlikSense, we actually had an open API to draw on. We were able to go through and piece this together and use this to tie all those other components we needed to work with. So it really enabled us to accelerate our time to market, and importantly, it added one other cool thing, which was we were able to, rather than just build an application for our specific end users, who are golf course superintendents and farmers and property managers, we were able to go through and serve the data scientist as well. So we've been able to work closely with nonprofits and research institutions, a couple of prominent universities, and really put this data back into their hands and see what they can do with it in a data discovery manner. So if we hadn't gone down the route of Qlik, we would be able to be forced to go down the path of just serving one set of users, and now we have this openness.
That's amazing. So I guess you could say Qlik is the glue that holds together the Internet of Things.
It absolutely is. I mean, Qlik is really helping us tie this data from little cellular and other network devices all the way back up into the hands of the end user.
Cool. So I'd love to see it. Would you show it to us?
That would be great. I'll walk over and we'll fire it right up.
Nothing like a demo to make the Internet of Things come to life in a very literal sense.
We'll wait for screen to pop up here.
That's a farm.
So now I think you can actually see, you can actually see our farm back home. So we use this as a good test bed. It's a kind of a nice advantage we have somewhere to test right locally. I can walk out in my backyard and pop a new device in and test it. This also lets us do some fun things where we can do things you wouldn't normally be able to do, like control different devices without impacting end users. You don't necessarily want water coming on a golfer as they're walking by. So we're looking at a couple of sensors here. So let's go ahead and just click one and go ahead and take a look at some of the readings that are coming in. You can see it's a nice high humidity day, sitting at a pretty normal ground temperature reading. But let's go through and look at the fact that we have Qlik tied in here. So we can go through and grab a couple of sensors all together in this one area and see what the conditions look like overall.
So in this context, what you're doing, using the Qlik engine, give people a way of associating, in this case, the sensor data, but you're also bringing in a bunch of other data sources.
We are as well. So one of the interesting things is we can go in and look at, say, the soil survey data. So if we're looking to expand out and perhaps buy some of the land available next to us, we want to make sure it's suitable for growing. We also may want to go through and look at some of the satellite data that feeds back in from various sources, whether this is false color infrared. In this case, we're pulling USDA data. Some of you may be, or may not be aware, but the USDA flies planes over quite regularly and is actually scanning for how good the growing conditions are. So this is critical data for golf course operators, critical data for cities who are managing parks, and also for farmers to see where they're having problem points.
And also real-time sources, as I understand.
We are. So one of the interesting things, and let's start zooming in on this nice little dark plot here. We were looking at some weather data that actually, I think, streamed in prior to us popping up the screen share. But you could see, we actually have a sensor up here on stage.
What?
So,
over here?
We do. We transplanted some of the farm up here.
So this is a real-time, this is a farm on a main stage at Qonnections. I think that's a first. I don't know. Anyone for basil mojitos?
So you can see here, we're slowly accumulating this data. This is feeding back in. This is actually tied off that RT humidity sensor. And actually, funny enough, it's this irrigation sensor that we're looking at right over here.
So you literally picked the farm up, put it on stage. And is this reading literally live from here?
It is. So we are seeing this nice little dark bar that's floating right across is reading real time right from that, and it's tied back into the associative model. So Anthony, if you'd be so kind, let's water the garden.
You think I should do a little real-time farming here?
Let's see it.
So you're saying I can just sort of water the plants and
you can.
See if we can get any...
And we start to see nice little spikes. So, and what's interesting here, assuming our webcam feed didn't go down, you can see we actually have a sprinkler on. That should be cutting off automatically. We'll see if it actually did. Sometimes the webcam latency lags there, but yes.
There you go.
So we on the back end, we're watching the data come in, and we have a series of event processors that introspect this data and then process it out for different alerts. Now, this is useful for obvious applications like, hey, let's not water when it's raining out, which I'm sure all of you have seen. But there's other interesting things. So predicting, for instance, when ground temperature is going to get too cold and kill off certain species of grass like Bermuda grass. This is a huge problem across Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina for golf courses. Other areas are pest emergence, or when should I plant a certain thing. We were actually able to bring a lot of our vegetables at the farm to the market 2 weeks prior to everyone else in our area because we were planting using predictive algorithms.
Excellent.
Yep. So just taking a look at the data here, I just want to do one more thing since this is the farm back home, and I want to go look at the raised beds, see what the actual conditions are. So in this case, we're looking at 21% soil moisture. I actually want that up around 24%. We just planted some new stuff in the back, so I'm going to go ahead and flip that back on. And provided we don't have too much internet lag, we'll actually see that sprinkler come back on here.
There you go. Excellent. All right. So thank you, Mike. That is amazing. And thank you for sharing and showing, and thank you for giving me my first farming opportunity live on stage.
You have now contributed to the farming ecosystem live on stage. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. And what I love about this example, Mike and the team at mesur.io, this is a startup. These guys are building a business, generating new customers, putting people to work, and doing amazing innovation on the back of the Qlik platform. Amazing work, and thank you for sharing that with us.